So this is Tyler Has Words doing Doom Days talk. Not Doom Days like actual Armageddon, but the album by Bastille. My I did a video earlier where I propounded that Bastille is probably the best band of the decade, the 2010s. So that means that they started after 2010, and I think they have the most coherent, consistent sound of any band. And whereas I don't do album reviews usually, I think that you almost have to with them because they have their albums feel conceptual, and I don't really care what critics say or whatever. But the days of albums. You remember back in the day, I remember albums dropping was a big deal. Not so much anymore. But with them, I was like the anticipation was pretty palpable. So I was totally stoked to hear this. I'll say this right off the bat: it is consistent, just like their other two albums. I have a few things that I'm disappointed with, but ultimately, the more I listen to it, the better it gets. I would say that they don't take a lot of crazy chances, and I don't really want them to because they're right where they need to be. The lyrics are a mixed bag of happiness and wonder and kind of life has like an elusive feeling to it, and it's moody music. And when I say that it's moody music, I don't mean that it's like whiny music, but it does put you in a mood. And I would say that if you like Bastille on any level, if you like one of their songs, and you're gonna like all of their songs. At least that's how I feel about it. And because they don't really deviate. There's a through line that goes through all of their music and in really all their albums. They all have their own texture to them, but really we're talking about pop with these really stud stacked vocals, floaty, melodic. The lead singer's got a voice that it follows itself on each album and in songs. He's got a patterned voice, but it's so good. It's like, don't change, please. It's soft, and yet it can be very emotional and vulnerable. And it can switch from baritone to singing higher. And he's got a great falsetto. He's got a great voice to be recorded, unlike some people. Some people are better live singers than singers on record, or some people it's hard. It's probably not true, but it's harder to capture some people's voice on a mic than it is others. And he has a perfect album, a voice for making albums. Don't know what it is. I am not a sound engineer. Obviously, this probably doesn't even sound very good, but I do my best. Anyway, so I get they released the 4 songs earlier. It was like Doom Days and Joy, and I've got the songs written here. I've listened to the whole album probably 5 or 6 times. I will say this: these are going to be my 2 big problems with it. It's short. It's a short album, 11 songs, and their other 2 albums were double albums, like 20 songs each. So I was expecting a 20 track album, which is not fair for me to ask, but that's what I wanted, and that's kind of what I was expecting. The fact that this album puts me in a mood. The reason, what I love to do with Bastille is I like to like sit on the if I'm like if I'm doing something like some like perfunctory work or something that really doesn't. I can have something that doesn't require me to be in complete silence. I like to have Bastille on because they just have this mood, and they just put you in this mood, and it stays there. And there's like not one track that like jumps out and then is like completely jarring. And even though there's moments on some of their songs where like it'll start with like this weird sound, like I would say, like the first 4 songs, it's midnight, which we already knew about that song because they released that early. And it goes to Divide. I'd say track 4, Divide, is probably the best song. It's very anthemic. It starts low, and then it has that big open chorus, which is... so it's about coming together, which it's a hopeful song. Doom Days sounds like we're watching the world burn, And I think there's a line about like looking at your phone, but I want to share the end of the world with you is basically the message. So I don't know if that's finding like a nugget of gold in an otherwise souring universe, or it's just nihilism. But I don't really care. I think you can read it either way. I think they're live streaming the end of Rome is like one of their lyrics, or paraphrase the lyric. I love that. So it's very current year. Oh, it's the end of the world kind of thing. But I mean, their first hit song was about a volcano, Mount Vesuvius exploding. So disaster and horrific apocalyptic type tragedy and travails has never been really off of their radar. So I would say that really this thematically sticks with what they've always been trying to do. And what I would say, I listened to it one more time in my car. And I would say that one other negative is the sound fidelity, pop, production values, strings, vocal stacks, all the things that make especially Wild World was like super produced, which was their last album. This falls short a little bit. Now it could be because that's artistically what they wanted, or it could be because the record company or the producer or the manager or somebody on the 900 billion people that run the music industry, or and whatever that pyramid of their record contract, delineates, and it's hard to know how their deal is structured. And knowing only a little bit about the actual business side of the record industry, I wouldn't even speculate. It could be very, very different depending on that, and that's boring. But the only reason it's interesting is because that might have something to do with why if there's a fall off in production, it could be because they just don't have enough money. They haven't had they're not like a hit making band as much as they are like if you like them, you like them. And I think it's because of the consistency, and I think it's because of the natural flow of the records, and because they're conceptual, because they're a band that doesn't go for like the easy, booty shaking lyric or whatever, or the easy dance song. I mean, they did have the Happier with Marshmello thing, but really that just sounded like a Bastille song. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with it. And I am not a big pop guy. My job is to play pop music for people mostly. But, from the 50s on up to now. And so pop music is good when it's good, but and everybody's got their own thing. But let's just go through this album. I'm getting a little off track, but that was bound to happen because I don't want to cut this video up too much. Because I've done videos where I cut. I've done videos where I read from a script and have visuals going on in the back. I just wanted to sit down and chill and talk about this one today because, like I said, I was in my car going over this album, and the reason I noticed the sound problem is because my car speakers they're really good. They're supposed to be really good. Just got a new car. But it sounded way different in my car than it did on like the Bose system I have in here, and on my Bose Q35 noise cancelers. So I think that might be down in production, or it may just be like they wanted a little lower fi. I noticed some 80s like wave synth, more of that sound, but like kind of that diluted wave synth sound than the other records were. The other ones it just felt like they popped harder. That's okay though. In the end, I really like it, and I think it gives it just a slightly more subdued feeling. I mean, the thing is called Doom Days, so it's basically, about revelation and about how things are completely changing and rolling over on top of each other, and maybe the world's out of control. So I don't think that it's too bad that the album sounds subdued. And I don't think I'm talking out of school here because I really, really like this band, and I think hopefully that's coming across. I don't really get into many bands anymore. Not like their entire catalogs. So I celebrate their entire catalog, and I really do. So, yes, I was quoting Office Space. And no, I do not celebrate Michael Bolton's entire catalog, although that is one of my favorite parts in any movie. And I'll be darned if you have a problem with that. So it ends really happy. I think the best two songs on the thing are... I really like Doom Days, but it's weirdly put at number 6 on the record. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 are all gonna kill you, are all gonna be awesome. Then track 5 is gonna be like, it's upbeat, but I think it starts a little strange, so it might throw you off a little bit. No, it's track 7. So 1 through 6 are just like, it's just like just hit. It's not like hit songs, but they're songs that could be hits if the world was a just place with meaning and hope. What is my the upshot of this whole ramble? Well, I think that Doom Days and Bastille, but mostly this album itself, is a lot like life, and that's what I wrote down when I was just listening to it in my car. And I went through all the. I don't want to do notes on every song because really put on the record and just have a good time listening to it. My recommendation. Bastille and one of the Dark Souls games. If you play video games, totally. This is like I'm totally nerding out and revealing my true colors. But like, I have played so many hours of Dark Souls. I don't really play video games anymore because I just don't have time. I'm trying to make books and do things. But like, I used to put on Dark Souls because there's not much of a soundtrack, or there's not really sound like in most games in Dark Souls or Bloodborne or, whatever. Bloodborne is probably my favorite. But those types of games, From Software or whatever it's called. So this would be Bastille is a perfect band to put on. You get your 20 tracks, and then you get your next album that was 20 tracks. And in this one, it's only got 11 tracks, but I'm telling you, there's a consistency and a flow to it where you just get lost. And you're just like, yeah. And just an example of one thing to do. Good for working out, or good for just like laying on the floor in your room and just listening to some lyrics, because the lyrics don't always rhyme, but you can understand them. They're a little vague at parts, which is good, so that you can interpret and gives you space to think. And it's not overwhelming sonically. It's just a good experience. And I think the lyrics and the tone of it is moody, and not moody. There's good moods, there's bad moods. You can be happy moods, you can be sad mood, you can be fun mood, and you can be all these other types of mood. And I think that's what I mean when I mean it's moody. I think it's moody like life is moody. And I wrote down 8. For some reason, the letter H popped into my head, and I thought that it's that this album is an escape from life, but it is life. It's happy and hard. It's haunting, definitely, and hopeful. I don't know why, just certain letters pop in here, free association, whatever. So I would say that Doom Days is happy, hard, haunting, and hopeful. And it's just, that's cheesy, and I get it, but it's a good way for me to memorize or remember how I feel about the thing. And I think that's accurate, and I think that's what life is, isn't it? It's haunting, scary, it's hopeful, you got hopes, even though it's hard, and it's happy. So that is my ramble on Doom Days by Bastille. I'm going to do another couple album reviews in the coming future. I've got Midland I want to talk about, which is my favorite country group right now. And yeah, I kind of go all over the place genre-wise, but I will get back with you on that one, and I'm going to do another video this week. So I know I've been keeping it pretty consistent, and hopefully you like what I have to say, gets you thinking about music, gives you something to listen to. It's always good to be into a band. It's always fun. Some of my best times in life always have a soundtrack to them. So it's always good. If you don't know this band, some guy hit me on the internet the other day. He was like, I've never really listened to this, but now I'm like totally in. Because if you go, here's a good thing: you're not going to waste a lot of time with Bastille. Either you're going to like them and you're going to get sucked in, or you're just not. and then I've wasted no more time than it took for you to watch this video. So cheers. I'll see you after. This is Tyler Has Words. Hit like, subscribe, and share, and please enjoy. Cheers, and see you after.